Here's why the cone of uncertainty matters, and why I want to talk about it and how it relates to our game. In a typical project's lifespan, where time is on the left and like far off in the future is on the right, you have an estimated level of scope, right? So it starts off at the inception stage and be like, this is approximately how much difficulty it'll be. And there's all these unknown factors in between, right? So maybe you're severely underestimating and it's going to be 4 times harder than you think it is, or 10 times harder, or whatever. Or maybe you're severely overestimating. It's actually not going to be that difficult. That's where like this 0.25x is. And as you get closer and closer to the deadline, you get more and more certain that you know exactly how much time is left, exactly how much scope is left, and the cone of uncertainty shrinks. You could also look at it like this, where in the very beginning you have this wide cone that expands further and further out, where this is like the 0.25x or the 0.4x, where like maybe this is actually how much total time is on the y-axis is a little bit different to read. But every like chunk of work that you do, you reassess to see, well, actually, we estimated we would be somewhere between here and here at the end of our first like month or 2 months or whatever. We actually took way longer than we thought, so let's re-estimate it. And then we have another estimate, and we actually took way shorter than we thought. We actually took longer than we thought. And that way you can kind of bounce around in between these upper and lower bounds, where you still end up nearing the middle, right? But it's only because of the constant reassessment. Now we're working on a game called Tombstone Taxi. This is a game where you drive a vehicle with your friends across a radioactive wasteland filled with zombies and bandits and monsters. And if you taxi them safely, you get paid. And you get to upgrade your guns and vehicles. Just be a better taxi service the next time around. And with our project, you can imagine time along the y-axis, or sorry, x-axis, and percentage along the y-axis, which means like if the very beginning of the start of the project, you definitely won't be able to complete the project anywhere near because you still have 100% of the game that needs to be worked on. You know it's going to take some amount of time, and like maybe it's 2 years of working on the project, maybe it's 1 year of working on the project, but there's some lower bound, right? And this is that cone of uncertainty. We're uncertain how many unknown unknowns there are in our project. So maybe it's possible that there's a very, very likely chance that we get someone on board, we get funding, we get a publisher, we get a ton of people to help us out, and the game gets done way sooner than we expected. Or maybe nobody wants to help us, it takes forever to get approved, and nobody's wishlisting the game, which you totally should, and it just takes forever to get the game out, and like just the game itself is just like not good once it finally does, because there was just so many unknown unknowns in that time. And I actually find this kind of interesting if you think about where we're at on this graph at this moment, at the time that I'm recording this video, and not the time that you're probably seeing this. So I'd actually say we're probably about here, this yellow dot, where we're most of the way done with the project. We know we still have more to go. Like if you look at like the delta on the y-axis, so to speak, we know we still have more to go. The game's not ready, but it's close. So our cone looks a little more like this, where we have a known lower bound that's clearly not 2023, but it's still somewhere in 2024, and then as an upper bound, it might be in 2025. And the reason why the initial cone was so much wider, especially if you go back and look at some of the older videos on this page, genuinely thought the game was going to be done within 6 months. I was like, it's going to be great, it's going to be done, it's going to be super fast and easy. Don't make any promises, which is what I didn't follow advice here. And then make them closer to when things are a little more firmed up, which is kind of where we are here. So yeah, it's a co-op game, wishlistable. We're estimating early access will be October of this year. Definitely pretty certain about that.